quick training on the GreenMax lighting control panel, which is starting to have in more and more parts lately. So the system itself is the system processor, the main processing unit or NPU. It consists of a power supply, main processor, and the analog input board. In this case, you have two indoor photo cells for daylight harvesting in your restrooms. The program is maintained on a little SD card built into the processor unit. Then, so this is removable with the power off, should you have to change processors or copy files, things like that. There's also a couple of minor troubleshooting things you can do from the SD card. If your photo cells take charge and don't let go of control, there's a file in there you can delete to refresh that. We can assist that if it becomes necessary. So your relays themselves are latching and dimming relays. They're rated 30 amps, and they have 0 to 10 volt dimming built into them. So each one, you can flip it manually, and the system itself will work off of a last command given type situation. So if you have an off command later, and you turn the relay on to check the lights and you leave it on, the next time clock sweep will turn it off. Then panel schedules written here. So all your programming would be done through your handheld display unit, your HDU. Typically in its usual state, it's turned off, hanging on the door. And so when you come to program, they need a Cat 5 jumper. Plug into the green HDU port, into the green port on top of the HDU. Thank you. So when you turn it on, it'll take a couple minutes to load up, and you're going to come to the home screen, which it'll read the project on the panel processor and on the HDU. So it'll compare all the files in here, and it'll match it to the one that's built in here.
So the one built in supersedes the handheld. That's why the handheld could be moved around.
Correct.
Okay.
So in this case, you borrowed one from North Beach,
right,
and it imported the file so that you could make changes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So as we've been doing these over the years, we do now have two firmware versions of the system. So what's called LumaCAN is the Leviton's machine language. So CAN is CAN bus. It's like a local area network, and Luma is Leviton's basic communication protocol.
Okay.
So this system is LumaCAN 2, and North Beach is LumaCAN 2. Some of your newer systems put in after 2016 are going to be LumaCAN 3. So the handheld display units between those two different systems are not compatible. In an emergency situation, you can upgrade and downgrade the firmware in the HDU. But if you need assistance on something like that, you can give us a call, and we'll help out with that. So once it boots up, you get up to your home screen. It tells you what project we have, and your 3 buttons available are monitor, timing, configure. The monitor button, initially it'll show you the system time, which we're a little off. So it'll show you system time and date, and also tell you that day's sunrise, sunset times. So we're going to go in, we're going to reset the clock since we're in here.
Yeah.
And you can also, if you're not able to view status if you're not able to see what state the relays are in, and it comes more into play in larger multi-panel systems, but you can go to the status button, and they'll tell you the name of the relay and whether they're on, off. Kind of tell you a quick status. For dimming relays, it'll tell you what percentage level they're at. So if you think a light looks really dim, you can come in and look at the dim status. So in all cases, the escape button is a back to the previous screen. It'll leave the screen without saving. Whenever you're in a screen, your options at the bottom are OK and cancel. OK saves that last thing you did. Cancel backs out without saving. And if you ever get lost in a menu, the home button brings you home without saving where you're at. So we're going to look at the timing. And when you first boot it up, the timing and configure menus ask for a password. So by default, all of our passwords are 1, 2, 3, 4, then hit OK. To navigate, you'll notice one of these buttons is highlighted right now. You can navigate between that level of menu with the left and right buttons. Back next, we'll cycle through everything. So we want to look at the clock, and we're going to go set our clock. So after a while, you learn the path of least resistance is sometimes the back button. So I'm going to look, it's like
23.
23, thank you. So you could type in the time, or if it's really close, you can hit the up-down arrow. And we're going to say maybe 30 seconds because we're kind of into that point. Then when you set the clock, go to set and hit OK. Then it pushes a command to reset clock. Then let's see, we're going to go home. So there's also 3 levels of saves on the system. So there's a save in the scheduling. It only does kind of a superficial save of the schedules. Under the configuration menu, there's a save configuration. That's usually our baseline save. It just saves the whole project and kind of prevents having any weirdness in your program file. It just kind of does a nice clean save.
Uh-huh.
And for work, and there's the export, which is kind of just a wipe the card right over it kind of save. So that's your level 3 save. And in case you had to change a processor, or in case in the rare instance that maybe your software gets corrupted or something, you can export and it usually corrects such things. So from there, you go home, and actually we were curious about some of the schedules that we're running. Was that also some of the questions?
Here?
Yes.
Okay.
So also in here, when there are schedules,
This is automatic daylight savings and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So what you do is you hit your back next, you get up to the chart until you highlight one of your items on the chart. And we're running 2 schedules, interior, exterior. So you highlight the blue one, and this shows that we're running a 7-day schedule. This does have the ability to run a different schedule every day. You just have to keep track of it when you're doing multiple schedules. So we're going to just take a look at Monday. So you go in there, you check all your days.
Mm-hmm.
So the exterior schedule is running sunset minus 30 minutes, it turns the exterior on. Sunset plus 30 minutes, we turn it off. So this system knows they have 2 options in there. You have latitude, longitude, or nearest city. San Francisco happens to be one of the nearest cities in the database, so that's easy. It automatically knows latitude, longitude, where we are, sunset, sunrise every day, and daylight savings resets per the 2007 change. So from there we can cancel. Then the interior schedule, we're running 7 a.m. we turn on, 7:01 we revert to the photocell and let the switches work.
Okay.
Then 11 p.m. we turn off, 11:01 p.m. we activate the switches in case maintenance people need to get in there after hours. And the switches are located in, there's another mechanical room over there. So the switches for each restroom are located there, so it's out of general public reach.
Okay.
If we wanted to change it right now, because I know the custodians complain because it's too dark, if we wanted to change it right now to 5, could we do that?
Yes.
So we could change it to 5, but it still wouldn't come on until someone walks in, right?
On those rooms?
Yeah.
On the restrooms?
In the restrooms, the interior.
So there's no occupancy sensors in there. It's automatic control is based off of a time clock.
Oh. Okay. So it would come on at 5.
Correct. And we can turn them on at 5 if you like.
Well, that's 2 hours of, yeah, no.
But they can also go into the mechanical room and turn the switches on. And we'll take a walk over there and show you that.
Okay. We'll just leave it how it is.
Okay. So everything else under configure. So under configure, the save configuration. That's when if you make a change, that's the save button you want to use. Things here are kind of system-wide settings that we're not going to use. Panels, and a lot of these menus here we usually only get used during the startup. Mm-hmm. We kind of establish areas and assign everything to where they belong. Then from there you can kind of tell it to talk to a switch or not. So, for instance, in there, if this schedule disappeared or faded or you had water get in, we do have the schedule taken care of inside of the panel menu.
Yep.
And also, all these panels have an Ethernet port, and they have a native BACnet IP driver, which is what a common language that building management systems talk. Mm-hmm. And Leviton also has a remote management software that can speak to this system as well via BACnet. So if you wanted to remotely manage the parks from a central software suite, that's a possibility.
So that'd be a separate software. So if we hook up to the internet, we'd have to have the software at our shop.
Yes.
Or something. Is that have we been given that software, or we'd have to?
Not yet.
Is it free or is it a purchase?
It's a purchase.
It's a okay, all right. Because we have quite a few of these sites, right? I mean, like, we would be able to remotely look at the site,
Yes.
get in, program it, right?
Yes. And also remotely, like if you had a big event, if you had a concert in one of your parks,
Yep.
and it was going past the 11 o'clock shutoff time,
Yep.
Yeah.
you could go into the scheduler program
Yeah.
and change the behavior on your schedule remotely, so you don't have someone come out here and flip the override button.
Right. Right.
Because the override switch gets forgotten about, but you can go in and set that. We've got that. One of our best installs of that software is the city of Fremont in their ball fields.
Mm-hmm.
They remotely log into every panel.
Mm-hmm.
When Little League season happens, they go through all the game schedules and they set their park schedules.
Yeah.
And we have our relays are tripping a Mustang system to turn the big sports lighters on.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Well,
So that gives
so this is on-site programming, but
yes.
if you're online and you have the software back at the shop, then that kind of circumvents having to even come out here.
Correct.
You just need visual confirmation, but other than that,
Exactly.
okay. How much is the software?
I'm not sure. I think it depends on the number of systems you're controlling.
Yeah.
Well, Park and Rec is probably at least 10, 12.
We're getting up there.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, the more parts
Yeah.
I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's one at West Sunset. I think that was the last
Yes.
time I saw you. So it's more just for the interior lights, I think. But they start adding up. You guys are putting them in. Something to consider.
Once we hit a certain point, then
Yeah.
it could make sense to have that.
Right.
Because then,
Right.
and over time, as you think about the fewer times you have to roll a truck out to a site,
Yep.
that's labor savings.
Yep.
That eventually something to pay for itself.
Yep. You should maybe. Do you do quotes or is that another department?
My department does quotes.
Maybe like for this, like contact Ryan. Do you have Ryan's email?
I think we do.
Just tell him that Helen said for you to send him an email.
It was a quote, yeah.
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 At least a
Right,
quote for the
first
software.
depending on how many sites, but overall, yeah.
And we'll go through our records
Yep.
for all the parks. I mean, I could probably remember 8 or 9 of them off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
that's
Yep.
what I'm thinking. Yeah.
There's probably one other one that I forgot
Betty
about.
Ong, right? Betty
Yeah.
Ong, I think has a full system there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll
Well, that's
also
a
make
good
sure that
point.
it can talk
Yeah.
to the Lumican 2 and 3 panels that way. Because it's backnet, so I don't think it's Lumican specific.
Uh-huh.
So I think it can, I would imagine they intended for that to be backwards compatible.
So,
Yeah.
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 It's all good.
Cool. And any questions?
Well, so as far as the 5 o'clock turn on, they'll have to do it manually from the.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go around to that mechanical
Okay.
and I'll show you where the switches are.
And then that, so if we ever want to change it, we have to go to North Beach, get that, and just bring that over and plug it in? And we're good?
No,
No,
actually,
we-
this one.
Oh, that's
this,
same?
This is the one. I owed you guys this one from the startup.
Oh,
We had a bad one.
Okay.
And I programmed it with my technician handheld.
Right.
And I promised to Declan back then. I said, I promise you, I've got another one on the way. And I got so busy, I never came back. But
But now, yeah,
All right.
cool.
Okay. So now we're set.
so this is yours.
All right. Cool.
Okay, great.
All
Are
right.
we missing them anywhere else? Is there one at Glen Park?
There should be one at Glen Park.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, every new job gets one.
Okay.
And as far
Is-
as purchasing product, you guys go through. You have a distributor you go through.
Yeah. I mean.
We have to go through, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even the software might have to get purchased through a distributor.
Yeah.
I think I'd given Declan kind of just a price list for this system a couple of years ago, and we went through Maltby.
Right.
We
But-
still have to, yeah.
You still do Maltby, San Francisco, or
Yeah, or Safeco too. I mean,
Safeco,
whichever
okay.
has a better price.